everybody. AEW review, Dynamite review for the 5th of May 2021. Blood and Guts, the first War Game style cage match in company history. Good show overall, best wrestling show of the week for national promotions. I just did the NWA review and said this is the best that's there, but it's not really considered national because, it doesn't have a TV deal. Anyway, for the opener, Don Callis cuts promo comparing Nakazawa to the greats of Japanese wrestling like Kabashi and other more modern day individual. He revealed Nakazawa would wrestle tonight's match alone. Omega wasn't here. However, during the Kingston and Moxley entrance, Omega attacked with the championship belt from behind. John Moxley and Eddie Kingston defeat Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa with Don Callis. Now, I will say, to me, in my opinion, nothing more than my opinion, Kenny Omega is the weakest world champion that's not like a gimmick, like a Vince Russo or David Arquette in the last 40 years of professional wrestling. Kenny Omega is utterly worthless from where I sit as far as drawing new people into the product. I know most people disagree with me that watch today's current product, but oh my gosh, no, just no. Anyway, Omega and Nakazawa beat down on Kingston in the ring. Moxley runs in, evens the odds for a bit. Moxley and Kingston bring things to the floor. They set their opponents on some barricades. Back in the ring, double team of Nakazawa. Kingston hits a knee, but Omega runs in, breaks up the pin. Official distracted, low blow on Kingston by Nakazawa, tries to choke him out. Omega isolates Kingston in the corner, hits the Kudo Crusher for near fall. Kingston gets into a chop battle. Omega breaks the combo into an enziguri and hits his first part of the You Can't Escape. Kingston avoids the moonsault and hits a running clothesline, allowing him to tag Moxley. Moxley teed off on Nakazawa and hits repeated boots in the corner. Nakazawa fires up and removes a shirt. And then we see a German suplex and a pile driver. Omega breaks up the count. Moxley applies a rear naked choke. Kingston runs in to interfere. Kingston then offers Omega a chance to save his partner. Omega runs away like the coward that he is in story. And Kingston and Omega then hit clotheslines, half and half suplex combo for the win. Post-match, Young Bucks come out and exchange words, but distraction allowing the Good Brothers to beat up Moxley and Kingston. Good Brothers hit Magic Killer on Moxley. And then the Jacksons follow up with super kicks. Omega comes back and flaked on his cameraman Cutler. Good Brothers held Kingston up, allowing Omega to hit him with a one-winged angel. And then we go to, there's an announcement that the World War I champion Hikaru Shida would defend the title against Dr. Britt Baker at Double or Nothing at the end of the month. Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson defeat QT Marshall. The Factory joined for Marshall's entrance. Cody attacked before the bell and hits a release suplex right away. Goes to whip Marshall with a weight belt. Official throws it away. Marshall catches Cody with a belt of his own. And a bunch of counter wrestling here. Cody goes to the top rope, but gets hit with a underhook and a German suplex, and Cody has to roll out to regroup. Marshall gets in Anderson's face and laid hands on him. Arn then snaps and hits a couple of strikes. Arn's ejected from ringside. We go to commercial. Cody comes back and hits a bunch of strikes. And then we see the clash of a double crossbody with a double down. Exchanges of punches until Cody goes for a sunset flip and pulled down Marshall. Strong hits a DDT. Cody goes to top rope, landed a high moonsault for a 2 count, and then goes for the disaster kick and the Cody cutter, but falls right into the crossroads from Marshall for near fall. Good exchange there. Marshall picks Cody up and buckle bombs him and sets up a tombstone pile driver. The two basically go back and forth until Cody finally hits a pile driver. Marshall walks right into Crossroads, kicks out barely. Great near fall, although why are we killing Cody's finish? Cody and Marshall exchange long look and locks on the figure four, forcing him to submit. Cody's been busted open at some point, and he's bleeding all over a cut right below his eye, which I think takes away from the blood in the main event, but maybe it was a hard way cut, so can't blame that. Factory member Anthony Ogogo walks out, drops Cody with a body shot before draping the United Kingdom flag over his body. Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, and Darby Allin and Sting brawl from last week is recapped. Sky and Page are interviewed by Marvez. Marvez is, other than Mae Valentine, the worst stick person in wrestling at a national level. NWA, I'm counting as national for the purposes of this. Anyway, Allin appeared and attacked them both, diving off structure. During the attack, Sky takes over and Allin gets taken out with a trash can. Page and Sky then toss Allin down the stairs. Takes a nasty bump, and they keep picture-in-picture during commercial with the officials checking on him. Quick match for Britt Baker. Baker goes against Julia Hart, who I believe debuted this week. Baker taunts Hart right away. Hart fights back. Baker drops her with a sling blade. Hits Hart with an air raid crash. Baker goes for the pin. Picks her up and applies a lockjaw for a squash victory going into the pay-per-view. Good for Britt Baker. Taz video plays, analyze films with Christian Cage, points out flaws in Christian before hyping up Powerhouse Hobb. Then we go to the tag team four-way. Caster raps before the match. He does well. He said that Brian Pillman Jr. would be on the dark side of the ring sooner or later. Anyway, so then we go to, there was any two people in, 6 out rules, winners get title shot next week in the four-way tag match. I usually don't like these matches, still don't, but at least the move forward makes sense. SCU, Daniels and Kazarian defeat Varsity Blondes, Garrison Pillman Jr., Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt, and the acclaimed backcaster Anthony Bowens. Jungle Boy and Kazarian start off. They do a bunch of near-fall exchanges, leading to a complete brawl. They go to the break. They come back. Daniels and Bowens wrestled around a bit. Luchasaurus found his way in. He takes out both members of the acclaimed and hits some suplexes and a double chokeslam on the Varsity Blondes. Chokeslam Kazarian onto both Blondes on the floor, which is just goofy. Spots for the sake of spots is stupid. Jurassic Express hit a bunch more double teams. Daniels runs in, breaks up the pin. Pillman springs in, hits a flying clothesline on Jungle Boy for near fall. Jungle Boy comes out with a rebound lariat and goes off the top, pulls down Daniels, and hits flatliner on Luchasaurus. Looks kind of awkward. Hit it on the floor. Kazarian tags himself in, rolls up Pillman for near fall. Kazarian takes out Jungle Boy, rolls up Pillman for another near fall. Tries to follow up. Gets hit with the best moonsault ever from SCU for the win. SCU obviously goes to face the Bucks next week. Video package hyping Jon Moxley, Yuji Nagata, which is a match I'm looking forward to. I don't know much about Nagata outside of his WCW run because I don't follow New Japan well enough. But the IWGP Championship is on the line. A bunch of New Japan footage showed words from Moxley and Nagawa. Moxley's offended at being called a punk. Anyway, so the Double or Nothing title match has been announced, or at least the number one contenders to such. Shivani brings out Omega, and there's hype for the cloud for blood and guts from Omega, but it's all watered down and sarcasm. Omega talks about the gold he collected, and moving on to his next challenge for the AEW Championship, Shivani announced that Pac versus Orange Cassidy would face off in number one contenders match next week. How did that come to be? We really don't know. Omega pointed out that Pac has beaten him before, essentially saying that it's a foregone conclusion that Pac would win the match. Orange walks out. Omega laughs in his face. Omega said he knows his value in terms of cultural influence, but other than that, he's not a big deal. Fans couldn't fans know that he can't be like Omega. Orange will never be championship material. Orange then gets his shades taken by Omega, and he put him on Nakazawa, and then punks him out, walks away. Miro comes out for an interview. He has a contract to face Darby Allin next week for the TNT Championship. If Allin can't perform, he'll lose by forfeit. Miro doesn't want that. He wants to beat Allin next week. So we'll find out what happens when the man who doesn't mind dying faces the man who doesn't mind killing him. Is an awesome line. Anyway, so next week's Dynamite lineup, which looks really good, Darby Allin versus Miro for the TNT Championship, AEW World Championship Eliminator, Orange Cassidy versus Pac, Young Bucks and SCU for the Tag Team Championship, Tony Schiavone and Javijit Cargill, Cody Rhodes will make a Double or Nothing announcement, and Moxley versus Nagata. I care about everything on the show, which is rare in a wrestling context in 2021. Anyway, they announced the rules for the cage match. They are the same as War Games, so if you know War Games, there it is. Pinnacle dressed in all white, Inner Circle dressed in all black. Prisoner outfits. Santana and Ortiz wear face paint along the way. Crowd is super hot for this. They give them, I think it was 40 plus minutes. Anyway, so this was better than I expected. I didn't grow up in NWA country, so I'm not really a War Games fan. But for what it is and the way they've built it, I think it could have been built further. I think it should have been done at the pay-per-view and not on free TV. But it was good for what it was, and I think it cements MJF as the top heel in pro wrestling right now, period. Anyway, first two in the match are Guevara and Harwood. Guevara takes fight to him and dives through the ropes. They wrestle around, and Harwood cuts him off with a spine buster. Pins are not counted, so his attempted pinfall is lost. Guevara shoves Harwood into the corner, and they climb the side of the cage. Guevara sends Harwood through the ropes, and they do the bounce off the cage spot. Harwood's busted open. Guevara then hit the springboard cutter. Spears is the first entrant. Spears brings a chair. Guevara tries to fight him off, and then there's another spine buster. Spears sets up a chair in the corner. Guevara tries to fight back, is overwhelmed by the numbers game. Ortiz comes in soon thereafter, brings a chair of his own. He goes nuts on both the heels, takes him out and smashes them with a chair shot, and Guevara and Spears meet from a springboard. Ortiz takes out Spears with a chair shot, allowing Guevara to hit Spanish Fly. Guevara then goes for another springboard, but falls off the ropes, and then is busted open as well. Wheeler comes in for the Pinnacle, and as the fresher man, he's able to take out Guevara and Ortiz. Pinnacle regain control. FTR hits an assisted brainbuster on Ortiz. Spears tosses Guevara into the cage walls. Wheeler dove Ortiz into the cage. Spears locks on the sharpshooter as Wheeler hits the gory bomb on the cage wall. Ouch. Ortiz is in between the cage and the ring. Santana is the next Inner Circle entrant in. He nails a Uranagi on Wheeler and then catches Hayward with a back suplex heading into the break. There's a flapjack of Santana into the cage by FTR. Pinnacle takes control again. Wheeler's busted open. Lots of blood in this. Wardlow enters the match during commercial. That was kind of poorly timed. Inner Circle have basically handled most of the Pinnacle members already, and they're trying to gang up on Wardlow, but the big man basically takes everybody out by himself. He tosses Guerrero into the cage, powerbombs Ortiz into it as well. Hager evens the odds in a minute here for the Inner Circle. He goes wild, applies an ankle lock on Spears, who taps, but the match isn't over because not everyone's in there. Hager and Wardlow face off. Strike exchange begins. Wardlow sends Hager into the chain link. And then MJF is the last entrant for the Pinnacle. Spears hits a C4 on Guevara. Crowd is very anti-MJF throughout. Wardlow takes out Hager from behind and manages to, I guess my computer kicked on and did some sort of very interesting commercial there. In any event, let me pause this and okay, interesting run there. Don't really understand why my computer decided to play a commercial, but it did. Grateful for that. I am not. Anyway, probably should edit that, but not going to edit that. In any event, we continue to go through the interesting run there. And I mean, again, for a person who doesn't like war games matches, this is, and to be fair, I liked '89, I liked '92. Other than that, I've never been a fan of them. MJF comes in, and that's basically what everyone's here for. So MJF is the last entrant for his team. He makes fun of Jericho. Pinnacle is in control. They isolate Santana. And Jericho finally enters the match, and the final phase finally begins. Two teams face off on each side of the structure. They meet in the middle and pair off with respective members of the team. Spears tries to climb the cage. Jericho attacks. Jericho chokes him on the scaffolding ahead of a commercial. Pinnacle turned it around and started to dominate. Exposing wood planks in the ring. Back from the break, FDR tries to pile drive Santana and Ortiz into the exposed wood. But that's turned around. Guevara shows and hits an assisted stuff pile driver. And then Spears is hung upside down. Tree of Woe. Ortiz sets up a chair. Guevara hits a coast-to-coast dropkick through the chair into Spears. Jericho smashes MJF with the turnbuckle, and Santana produces a fork of all things, stabs MJF with it. MJF is a bloody mess. Jericho uses the bat to choke out Wardlow and goes right at MJF again. Wardlow fires up, takes the inner circle out, but is met with weapon shots. He tries to block but doesn't succeed. Wardlow runs into a chair shot to the head, leading to the final commercial break. Tully assaulted an official and unlocks the cage door, allowing MJF to climb out onto the top of the cage. Jericho follows him up in hot pursuit. Inner Circle maintains control. MJF begs Jericho, who then locks him in the walls of Jericho on the roof. MJF is about to tap, but landed a low blow, buying himself a little extra time. MJF applies salt to the earth, and Jericho wouldn't tap, so he goes after the arm some more. MJF pulls out a dynamite diamond ring, lays a shot right in between Jericho's eyes, demanding that he surrender. Jericho is, in fact, busted open. MJF looked to the floor like he tossed Jericho off the roof of the structure. He demands that if the Inner Circle didn't quit, that he would throw Jericho off the roof. Guevara surrenders to save Jericho from being tossed off the top of the cage. Post-match, MJF pushes him off the top anyway, and he goes crashing through the staging at ringside. MJF screams thank you and poses as we close the show. This is definitely a setup for future matches between Jericho and MJF. This is definitely something worth seeing, and the continuation of the Inner Circle and Pinnacle War is cool. Certainly enjoyable. We've got over 1,250 audios available, and we will continue with more WCW Saturday Night Review right after this, so stay tuned.